I would imagine I would be meeting with Putin, yes, at the right time. I think at the right time, at the appropriate time.
And again, you realize if you don't clarify that, everyone's going to assume you're talking to President Putin regularly.
Well, they can assume that.
So is it safe
It makes sense. Well, I don't want to talk about it. And if we are talking, I don't want to tell you about the conversation. It's too early. But I do believe we're making progress. We want to stop the Ukraine-Russia war. And I want to stop it just because I hate to see all these young people being killed.
But can you clarify whether you had that since you've been in office, or whether it happened before you became president?
I've had it. Let's just say I've had it. And I expect to have many more conversations. We have to get that war ended.
This is my video update on this Monday evening, February the 10th, coming to you from Athens, Greece. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with the Trump-Putin phone call. Once again, let's start things off with this phone call between US President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, because Trump was once again on Air Force One and he was asked by reporters about a conversation with Putin. Did it really happen? And Trump said, yeah, it happened. I spoke with Russian President Vladimir Putin. That's pretty much what Trump said. Actually, let me read you his exact quote. According to Reuters, Trump said, I've had it. Let's just say I've had it, and I expect to have many more conversations. We have to get that war ended. When he says, I've had it, he means I've had the talk with Putin. I spoke with Putin. So that's confirmation from Trump, from the US president, that he has spoken with the Russian president. Because in the New York Post article that first broke this news, they implied that a conversation had taken place between Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump. They didn't actually get a quote or statement from Trump saying, I've had that phone call. But in this statement, Trump is saying, I've had that phone call. Actually, Reuters said that speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One, Trump indicated that the two men had been in contact. That would make the first officially acknowledged conversation between Putin and the US president since early 2022. That would mark the first officially acknowledged conversation between Putin and a US president since early 2022. Think about that. A US president, Bidenopolis, did not speak to Putin from most of 2022, 2023, 2024. Man, Bidenopolis, absolutely awful, huh? Incredible, the US not being able to speak with Russia. Disgraceful from Biden. Well, Trump is saying that he's spoken to Putin. I would take a guess and say that he's probably had more than one conversation with the Russian president. Just a guess. And I would also say that they probably started to talk after the inauguration, after the 20th of January. Just a guess. So there was a lot of confusion about whether this call had occurred. Even Peskov, the Kremlin spokesman, after the New York Post article, his statement was that he cannot confirm or deny that a call had taken place, which is crazy when you think about it, because if anyone knows who Putin is speaking with, especially when it comes to world leaders, it's Peskov. Peskov would know So for the Kremlin to issue a statement like the one they issued yesterday, it had a lot of people doubting whether this phone call had actually taken place. Well, Trump is doubling down. He's saying that the call has taken place. I would imagine that that Peskov, the Kremlin, is going to issue a statement saying that very soon, maybe within the next day or two, saying that the Russian president has spoken with the U.S. President. That's just a guess as well, but I can see that coming within a day or two. Otherwise, the Kremlin could issue a statement saying that no call has taken place between the Russian president and Trump, which would be very embarrassing for Trump. But I don't see Russia doing that. I don't see them doing that at all. Anyway, that's the statement from Trump. It's a good thing that that the U.S. president is speaking with the Russian president. That is a positive. And then Trump today, he posted on Truth Social. This is wild. He posted on Truth Social a CNBC article with the title, "Putin says Europe will stand at the feet of the master as Trump's tariffs alarm allies. Happy to be on the sidelines. Russia's Kremlin says it's watching the tensions Trump's tariffs are spreading." And it has the featured image, the photo of Putin smiling in this CNBC article, which Trump posted on Truth Social. I remember reporting on this interview from Putin, where he called the European Union, he called them political small fries, I believe is the words that he used to describe the vassal states of the European Union, and then Putin said that yeah, they could be complaining about Trump and Trump's tariffs, but Trump's going to take care of it. He will have them bowing down at his feet, at the master's feet, sooner or later. That's what Putin said. He was mocking, trolling the EU leadership, but also calling them out and recognizing them as the vassals that they are. And Trump puts this on Truth Social, and he puts this on Truth Social. Get this, it gets even better. He posts this on Truth Social at the same time that he has J.D. Vance in France. I believe Vance is in Paris today. He's going to Munich in a couple of days to attend the Munich Security Conference, where he's going to be meeting with the Green Goblin, Zelensky. Mr. Vice President, please no hugs. Do not hug Zelensky. Don't hug him. Fist bump him. Try not to shake his hand. Fist bump, but don't hug him. We don't want you getting the Zelensky curse anywhere near you. And you also have, I believe Kellogg is in Europe as well. He's floating around Europe, pitching his Kellogg ceasefire plan. And Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, is also in Europe, or he's going to Europe today. He's going to go to Poland, and then he goes to Germany and Brussels. And I also read that Rubio is going to be in Europe. So you have all of these top level, we're talking the top of the top, Trump officials in Europe to speak with the Europeans, to get the Europeans to spend more on defense, to allocate 5% of their GDP to NATO, to buy more American weapons, and most importantly, to tell the Europeans that Project Ukraine, you guys gotta take care of Project Ukraine. We're giving it to you guys, and as all these guys are, all these top officials are going to be in Europe, Trump posts this CNBC article. Man, I bet you the EU leadership, the Europeans, Zelensky, I bet you they're seeing this post from Trump, and they're probably just having a heart attack, man. They're probably in extra panic freak out mode. Unbelievable stuff, man. It's crazy. It's chaos. It's crazy. But maybe the madness, maybe there's a method to all of this madness. Just the fact that Trump has decided to speak to Putin first, before Zelensky, before the Europeans, that says a lot. To me, that says a lot. But we'll see. We will see what what happens going forward. I'm waiting to see if the Kremlin puts out a statement about a phone call between Trump and Putin. I think that will tell us a lot. But Zelensky was giving an interview to ITV, I believe it was ITV, and Zelensky was asked about elections in Ukraine, and he made a very interesting admission. He said that in order to have elections, you have to revoke martial law. And he said, if you get rid of martial law, he said he's not afraid of elections either. He says, hey, I'm not afraid of elections. Trust me. Podolyak, am I afraid of elections? No, Mr. President, you're a big, strong man. You see, I'm big, strong man. I'm not afraid of elections. But if you revoke martial law, Zelensky said, then all of the soldiers in the Ukraine military will run away, run away, run away, run away. They're all going to run away, he said. And you can't have that. And he said the Putin is the one that's putting out all of this election talk, saying that I'm illegitimate and trying to get Trump and everybody else to talk about Ukraine having elections. This is all Russia's doing, he said. But he's like, look, if I get rid of, to have elections, I have to get rid of martial law. If I get rid of martial law, then my military is just going to desert. That's it. Which is an amazing admission, man. According to Zelensky, having an election would require martial law to be lifted. If we suspend martial law, we will lose our army, he said, explaining that Kiev would not be able to keep the troops on the front lines otherwise. What does that tell you? It tells me that this democracy beacon of human rights Zelensky regime forces soldiers to be on the front line. That's what it tells me, which is horrific, which is absolutely horrific. But that's the admission that Zelensky made. The Washington Post has an article with the title, "As Ukraine Struggles to Field Soldiers, Recruitment Centers Are Attacked." Kiev insists that attacks are orchestrated by Russia, but there is rising reluctance in the country to join the fight as the war drags on. It's coming to an end, man. We are coming to an end game, no doubt about it. When the Washington Post is putting out titles like this one, you know that inside Ukraine there is resistance against the war, and it's starting to grow. So let's talk about USAID, and let's talk about the secretive, shadowy network that received $472.6 million. The network known as Internews. Internews, everybody. WikiLeaks posted on X, USAID has pushed nearly $500 million through a secretive U.S. government-financed NGO, Internews Networks, IN, which has worked with 4,291 media outlets, producing in 1 year 4,799 hours of broadcasts, reaching up to 778 million people and training over 9,000 journalists. 2023 figures. IN has also supported social media censorship initiatives. And the post goes on and on and on from WikiLeaks. And they completely expose this USAID funded Internews Networks. This is like James Bond stuff. Internews Networks is like Spectre or something like that, man. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Basically, this news network, this Internews Network, was operating above the media, training journalists, funding media outlets, spinning narratives, pushing out talking points. And they would always say, Russia, Russia, Russia. It's Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia misinformation. Russia disinformation. Russia interference. Russian meddling. You know what the truth was? You know what the truth is? It's not Russia, Russia, Russia. It's USAID, USAID, USAID. That's the truth. That is the reality. So Ursula Ursula von der Crazy, she wants to create an EU army. She wants an EU army. And in order to create her EU army, she wants your money. If you're watching from an EU member state, Ursula von der Leyen is saying that Europe has to create an EU army, not NATO. That's a different thing. Your money going to NATO, that's different. She needs money. She wants money to create an EU army. A nice big EU army slush fund. That is what Ursula wants. EU's von der Leyen calls for alternative to NATO. A number of the bloc's leaders have pushed for a common European force free from U.S. control in recent years. Ursula said NATO remains the foundation of our defense, but it is evident that we need a pan-European defense, von der Leyen said in a press briefing in Lithuania on Sunday. Modern warfare requires a scale, technology, and coordination too big for any one nation to handle alone. She added, asking for more funding, both public and private. That's the key. Asking for more funding, both public and private. Oh boy. The strategy for the future of European defense will be presented to EU leaders by mid-March, she said. So we have NATO, our money goes to NATO, but now our money is also going to go to an EU army because according to Ursula, it is evident that we need a pan-European defense. We already have a pan-North Atlantic Treaty Organization defense, but we also need a pan-European defense. Oh, man. When Ursula was defense minister for Germany, she was the worst defense minister that Germany has possibly ever had. Even German parliament members, they mocked the job, ridiculed the job that Ursula did as defense minister of Germany. That was when, I believe it was Chancellor Angela Merkel who had Ursula as the defense minister. And it was so bad for Germany, things were so mismanaged that the German military, they were training with broomsticks because Ursula failed to provide actual weapons to the German military. They didn't have any guns, so they were training with broomsticks. True story, by the way. If you look it up, you will find it on the interwebs. Anyway, she's now talking about creating an EU army. What could possibly go wrong? Ursula von der Leyen and Kaja Kallas and all of these EU brainiacs, these EU elite brainiacs taking public and private money to create an EU army. We're going to have a NATO army. We'll have an EU army. We have our country government, and then we have the EU government on top of our country. This is all just wonderful stuff going on in Europe, huh? Oh, man. One thing she's good at, I will give it to her. The one thing that she's good at is creating slush funds. She knows how to create centralized, big slush funds. That's for sure. So that's what Ursula said. USAID funded Politico, they put out an article with the title, Inside the New Plan to Seize Russia's Shadow Fleet. European countries are pushing for new powers to squeeze Moscow's shadow fleet after a spate of incidents in the Baltic Sea. What else is USAID funded Politico saying? The shadow fleet, the scary shadow fleet. Ships that are not funded, ships that are not insured, by London. That's what designates a shadow vessel. Are you insured by London? Yes, you're good. Not insured by London? You're a shadow vessel. You're a ghost vessel. That's how it works. Politico says, now European countries are holding behind-the-scenes talks on large-scale seizures of Moscow's oil exporting tankers in the Baltic Sea. According to 2 European Union diplomats and 2 government officials, they are also currently drafting new legislation to add legal heft to those efforts. So this article, let me try to remember this article, the plan that is being put together to to take Russia out of the Baltic Sea, because that's what the Baltic nations, this is being driven by the big, powerful, very influential Baltic nations of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. That's who's driving this initiative that is being talked about in the European Union. The plan is, let me remember, is threefold. The first thing they're going to try to do is they're going to try to kick out Russia from the Baltic and seize all the Russian ships that pass through the Baltic. We're talking all of them, by saying that they pose an environmental hazard. That's the first thing they're going to try to do. That's how they're going to justify the going after of Russian vessels. So that's number one. If they can't do that, then they're going to use a legal route. That's what they're going to do. They're going to use a legal route by saying that the Russian vessels are pirate ships, because according to the lawyers that they're consulting, they're going to try to spin it as if the Russian vessels, they're cutting cables in the Baltic, and those are actions of a pirate Schultz. They're cutting the cables in the Baltic, and they're going to be designated pirate ships, and that means that they can be confiscated, blocked and confiscated, which, according to international law, according to international law, that's not what a pirate vessel does. Pirates you can designate a ship as a pirate ship only if it attacks other vessels, if it attacks and boards other vessels and steals all the cargo from vessels. That's a pirate ship. But they're trying to legally frame it as any ship that, or a ship that cuts cables in the Baltic. So that's the second route that they're going to take to try and remove Russia from the Baltic Sea. And the third route that they're trying to take, if the first two don't work, is that they're just going to change national laws and just pass laws which say that Russian ships cannot pass through the Baltic Sea, according to the laws of Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and the Nordic countries. And they're just going to pass national laws and say we're passing legislation where we're blocking all of Russia's vessels from entering the Baltic Sea. Yeah, that's going to go over real well with Russia. Yeah, but anyway, that's what they're kicking around. That is what they're considering. Oh, why has Europe, why has the EU defaulted to the Baltics? Why have they given these three tiny mini-me countries so much power, so much say in everything? Beats me, man. Beats me. So let's do some clown worlds, and we can wrap this nighttime video up. We're going to stay with Ursula. When she was in Lithuania, she was with the Lithuanian president or prime minister, or I don't even know. I don't even care. Anyway, they were together celebrating the cutting off of Russia electricity. Lithuania is moving away from Russian electricity. They're finally free from the Russian electric grid, and they're now going to be plugged into the EU, the European electric grid. And according to Ursula, that's an indication of freedom. That is what Ursula posted on X today. We connect the Baltic states to the continental European electricity grid. We're cutting the last remaining links with Russia. Freedom from threats and blackmail at last. This is a historic day. I'll get to the clown world in a bit, but this is all a clown world, but I'll get to the real clown world of this story. But when did Russia ever threaten any country when it comes to electricity? All the crazy stuff that the Baltic nations have said, all the crazy stuff that they have done, the escalation against Russia using proxy Ukraine, all of these things that the Baltic nations have been doing to Russia, never once has the Russian government ever threatened the Baltic nations with the cutting off of electricity. Never. The same holds true for gas and oil, by the way, when it comes to Europe. Anyway, so this whole narrative of Russia blackmail is just fiction. It is pure fiction. But Ursula is also saying that the Baltic nations are now going to be free. Free from what? Free from options? Now they're going to be 100% dependent on the European Union? Is that freedom? Before, you could have made the argument that the Baltic nations had options. They had the Russian electricity grid, and they also had the option of plugging into the European electricity grid. So they had two options just in case. Maybe the European Union decides to put pressure on the Baltic nations sometime in the future. And they could use their tools like electricity to put pressure on the Baltic nations. Maybe something like that could unfold in 5-10 years. So you have an option. You can say, well, we have Russian electricity and vice versa. That's freedom. Having options is freedom. But now they've cut off the one option, which was very reliable, Russian electricity. And now they're 100% dependent on Europe. How is that freedom, Ursula? That doesn't sound like freedom to me. It doesn't sound like freedom at all. Anyway, as they were celebrating this freedom, the Lithuanian president, he's the president, Nausėda, he said, goodbye, Russia, goodbye, Lenin. That's what he said. That was he made like a phone call. I guess he was calling the Russian electricity grid, or pretending to call the Russian electricity grid. And he said, goodbye, Russia, goodbye, Lenin. These people are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, man. They really are. They really are obsessed with Russia. They've got Russophobia to the 12th degree. They need medical help. The president of Lithuania needs medical help. Ursula needs medical help. Kaya Kallas needs. They need medical help, man. They need medical help to deal with this Russophobia. They really do. Lenin? Lenin, really? Goodbye, Lenin? Well, goodbye, Lenin. Okay, maybe like 80 years ago. Maybe more than that.
Goodbye, Russia. Goodbye, Russia. Goodbye, Lenin. Absolutely. We made it. We made it.
Oh, and then you have the prices for electricity. Congratulations. The electricity prices in Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia are the highest prices in Europe. Only Belgium has higher prices. Yeah, well done. Well done on cutting off that Russian electricity. Now you're going to pay even more for your electricity, citizens of the Baltic states. So one more clown world and we'll wrap this video up. The Super Bowl was yesterday. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. And Trump, he was at the Super Bowl. And he was applauded. He was cheered a lot. And then they showed Taylor Swift, who's dating, I believe that he's the tight end of the Chiefs, the team that lost the Super Bowl. And she always goes to his games. And they showed Taylor Swift on the big TV screen, the Jumbotron or whatever it's called. They showed Taylor Swift, and everyone booed. I don't know, why did everyone boo? I thought everyone loved Taylor Swift. I thought everyone was a Swiftie. But Trump was cheered, Swift was booed, and then Trump posted on X, the only one that had a tougher night than the Kansas City Chiefs was Taylor Swift. She got booed out of the stadium. MAGA is very unforgiving. I guess because Swift went hard against Trump. She was a big Harris Bidenopolis Democrat supporter. So I guess that's why she got booed. Anyway, whatever. Congratulations, Philadelphia Eagles. If you're watching this video from Philadelphia, congrats. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the victory. That's the video. theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute. Let's go this way. BitChute, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop. Pick up some merch. It is very cold today in Athens, but I still have my Duran sweatshirt on. You will find a link in the description box down below. Take care.